All right, thanks for joining me today. My name is Chuck Tuck, and I am the host of Open Mic with Chuck Tuck. Today, I've got a treat for all of you listeners out there and watchers, because this is being recorded for YouTube, but for the podcast. So you can watch and you can listen either way. But like I said, I've got a treat for you guys today. I have Randy Couture coming on and Mindy Robinson. So hang tight and we'll get the show started. Randy.
What's going on, bud?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Surviving. Just
Good.
Trying to stay dry. I mean, it's wet here in Seattle, right?
Oh, yeah? It's raining already.
Oh, God. It's more than raining. So you've been doing a lot of this stuff, haven't you? Interviews.
My fair share. Yeah, I think everybody's got time on their hands with all this COVID crap going on. So I get a lot of people reaching out for interviews and podcast stuff. But, I don't mind. If it fits in the schedule, why not?
I'm glad it's in your schedule to do this, but it's really good seeing you, too. I mean, you're at a distance, but hey, we're more than 6 feet apart.
Yeah, well, I don't think we have to worry about social distancing via Zoom.
No.
But, all good.
Not at all.
You as well.
In fact, looking behind you through the window there, it kind of looks like you've got decent weather.
Vegas is nice this time of year. It's generally 60s and 70s. I think it's going to be 75, maybe a little higher than that today. So this is a real nice time of year in Vegas.
Nice. So is Mindy joining us today?
She's coming down. Yep.
Okay. Good. I hope she didn't mind.
No, she's happy to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you were out here recently, weren't you? At Jeff?
It's been a while since I've been out.
Has been? Okay.
Yeah. Jeff, we had a production crew come out. Here's Min's. We had a production crew come out and interview Don Totten and Jeff Lynne and my mom for a 6-part documentary series that they're doing that'll air on ESPN sometime in the very near future. PFL, the fight company that I've been working for the last couple of years, formed a production company since they couldn't do any shows during the COVID lockdown. And one of the things that they wanted to do in the production company was this documentary. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about it.
Very nice.
I think they talked to Coach K-Spear. Obviously Don and Jeff. I think I've known both those guys. Well, I know I've known Donnie since first grade. And Jeff, I think since junior high school, since 7th grade. Yeah. So it's, pretty cool.
Did you ever play soccer back then?
Yes, I was on the Red Raiders. Me, Jeff, Donnie, Robert Anderson. I think from the time I was 5 years old, we all played soccer together.
You know, it's crazy, Randy.
What's that?
You and I played on the same team together.
Yeah, I know we did.
I was thinking about it today going, hell, I wonder if he was on Red Raiders.
Yes, of course.
Holy shit.
That's funny.
Wow. Hey,
it's always been my favorite sport. It was my first sport and my favorite sport. It's one of the few sports I can sit and watch on TV and not be bored watching it on TV. I think Coach Anderson played around with that a little bit. I think sometimes we had a 5-man front with 3 halfbacks and 2 fullbacks. And then I remember him switching that up and going 4-on-4 with 2 halfbacks and, kind of mixing the configuration up.
Yeah, my coach was always the standard. 5 on the front line, 2 in the back.
Yeah. What do we have? We had Jeff Denton and Kozad.
Yeah.
He were our 2 fullbacks, and they used to kick butt.
God, man, there's got to be some pictures out there of us on the field together somewhere. So, hey, the first thing I wanted to ask, Mindy, how are the 2 of you doing?
Pretty good. It's not every, I guess, week that you break your butt and it makes national news. So
yeah.
It also makes news when we unbroke my butt. So yay, I'm feeling a lot better.
That's what I want to know. Were you as badly injured as Randy?
No, he broke my fall. No, he had the 5 broken bones. I had 3 fractures to my spine. So he couldn't lift his arm up and I couldn't bend over. So we were like 150-year-old people trying to dress each other in the morning. It was actually kind of cute.
Together we made a whole
Yeah,
person.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost. A slow whole person.
That had to have been pretty damn painful, but scary when it first happened. I mean, especially like you said, if you injure your back or do something like that, and you, Randy, with 5 busted
Yeah.
up bones or something.
Yeah, I broke 4 ribs, punctured my lung, and then broke my left shoulder. And the shoulder's healed up great. It feels fine. And, they put plates in. They went in and plated it, so it heals a lot faster that way. The ribs are still a little ginger, a little tender, but not bad. They're not bothering me. So those actually healed up faster than I thought they would. The ribs, they're usually slow. Ribs don't get a lot of blood flow, so it's harder to heal up ribs. But we're doing well, feeling much better, back to 100%.
Good. So that means no tickling on the ribs by you, right?
I think I can stand some tickling. I don't know
If-
about taking a shot, but tickling, I think I can live with.
Oh man. So I just a couple things or more than a couple things, but since you've done a lot of this already, and there's a lot of people know a lot about you, I kind of want to bring the two of you in together, talk about what things are going on and stuff like that. But I also want to step back and find out from you, from your childhood moving forward. What were you like? What was it like as Randy Couture as a kid, 1st through 6th grade, middle school, high school?
Yeah, I grew up right there across the street from Oak Heights Elementary School. So I walked to school every day, 1st grade through, kindergarten, 1st grade, all the way through. And then obviously we rode the bus to Alderwood Junior High School. The bus stop was right in my front yard. So Bobby and Tim Deachman and all those guys used to come. We'd watch Our Gang Theater on my TV and wait for the bus to pull up. And then we'd all bust out the front door and run down the front yard to get on the bus before it took off. We used to raid the gardens, Jack Thomas, Mike Sloy, Tim Deachman. We used to go out in that kind of rural area of Linwood where there were still little horse farms and ranches, and felt like a lot of people in the neighborhood had their own gardens in the backyard. I think that's the way Seattle used to be.
Yeah.
It was kind of a do-it-yourself kind of a place. We mowed our own grasses. We worked on and changed oil in our own cars. We were kind of we always seemed to have this do-it-yourself mentality there that I grew up on, and I loved about that area. And I think that's changed. I don't think it's that way anymore. But and the area has just exploded. It's gotten so much bigger. When I come to see my mom and my sister, I mean, I don't even remember parts of the old neighborhood. It's just exploded. But it was never one of those kids that was in a lot of trouble, any serious trouble. I think raiding gardens and stealing Christmas bulbs off the string was probably as serious as it got for us, growing up. And then, sports was a huge part of my life. My mom, as a single parent, put me in every lesson and every sport you could think of to try and keep me out of trouble. I took tennis lessons. I had roller skating lessons. You name it. And I probably tried it. Bowling, I tried it. So I think through athletics, I kind of found my place. I found my groove. Those coaches were important guys in my life because there was no male figure for the most part for me growing up. I had a stepdad for junior high and high school. He wasn't exactly a loving, caring individual, and we got through it, and I learned a lot. In some ways, he was the man's man. Again, worked on cars, built his own crab pots, took me hunting, did a lot of outdoor stuff. But at the same time, he was kind of an incessant tease, almost to the point of being cruel. So, it is what it is. I think we all have our crosses to bear. Fear coaching
on your end.
Those guys were important guys in my life. They were the figure that I needed. If I needed a cast, they were the ones that were probably going to give it to me. If I needed, an arm around my shoulder and a noogie, a head rub, saying it's going to be all right, fine. Those were the guys that did that too. So
Yeah.
Graduated in 81. Ended up walking on at Washington State University. They still had a wrestling program. Didn't really get any attention as time state champion for any national scholarships or anything like that. But sold my car to be able to pay for that year of school, and ended up I'd been dating Sharon Kuma our whole senior year. We kind of broke up that summer, and we're both going away. She went to University of Washington. I went across the state to Washington State University. By Christmas that year in late 81, she was pregnant with Ryan, my oldest. And
Right.
I, at that point, I think I put the blinders on. I went on autopilot. I wasn't going to be like my dad. I was going to be a part of this kid's life no matter what. And Sharon was like, we're having this baby. I'm doing this without you, with or without you, which obviously was a no-brainer. I was going to be there. And so we ended up getting married that February of 1982. And that's when I joined the Army. Spent 6 years in the Army to support a new family.
Wow.
And that's kind of when I left the Seattle area, went away to basic training at Fort Bliss, Texas, advanced training at Fort Rucker, Alabama. They trained me as an air traffic controller. Gave me a $5,000 enlistment bonus because that's right around the time that Reagan fired all those air traffic controllers. And all those military guys took all those civilian jobs. There was a big vacancy in the services. So, $5,000 to me was a lot of money, but in 1982, holy crap, especially with a baby, that just arrived. And it was for me. Till I was 25.
Hey, just let you know, Randy, if you can hear me.
And communism, I can hear you. You just
okay.
get stuck once in a while.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it did the
yeah. Max headroom. You went full max headroom.
Exactly right. Hey, I wanted to throw something in here. So you mentioned about high school and class of 81. Mindy, did you know what he was voted as campus cutie?
Wow.
He had this beautiful hair. I think he had on like a sweater looking thing or something like that.
A velour V-neck, yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Connie Well.
Yes. So I got to ask you, Mindy.
We were voted most.
Most is. Fine. You got most desirable.
Was it the most desirable? Oh man. Damn it. This keeps freezing up.
He's frozen happily though.
Is it you or me?
I think it's on your end.
Pretty good Wi-Fi here.
Yeah, I've got pretty good, it seems like, but we'll make it work. Yeah, it's. I may have to pull out the yearbook thing and take a look through there again, but this guy that you got next to you, he's still a good-looking guy. The one thing is.
What year did you graduate?
Yeah, here it comes.
What year did you graduate?
This is every time I tell her what year I graduated high school or mention high school, she says, "Oh, when I was 1 year old."
Holy shit!
He was born in 1980. So.
Wow. All right. Can we just call it Robin the Cradle? We'll just say it right now.
No, like I get all the jokes and the music and all that stuff. I don't feel like when the older you get, the less space I think you have. Between generations. I was supposed to be Generation X, but I feel old. I feel way older than that.
Hey, Mindy, as long as you know who Van Halen is, AC/DC.
Yeah, I'm David Lee Roth. I'm not even a fan of Hagar. I'm all David Lee Roth. That's how
Yeah, Mr. DLR.
I took her to when the film for Rush came out in the theaters. We went and saw the Rush documentary. And it was really good. I felt like I was at a Rush concert again. And that was certainly one of my favorites growing up. And we got a big influence from Canada there in Seattle. As kids. So Rush has always been one of my favorites. And she was never really into Rush or knew much about Rush so I drug her to that documentary movie that they did.
But the songs are so long. You have to you need a bathroom break in between them or something, Everything's short attention span theater from the 80s and 90s. Everything's about 3.5 minutes. Here you're like, oh, okay. But it was cool. I feel like I went to the concert, so it was kind of neat.
That's cool, then. But you know what? You're going to have to step way back and go to with the Beach Boys or something because they're like 2.5-minute songs and that's it. You're done.
Yes, short attention span theater. I love it.
Yep.
Well, Mindy was the youngest. She had 4 older siblings, and so she heard and learned not only her parents' music but all of her older siblings. So it always blows my mind when she's listening. You know, I'm putting on the radio, and she knows all the words to all the songs that I grew up on. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this picture?
That goes to show and tell you that the music that we grew up with, hands down, was the best.
It was.
I always think like the best songs that were ever written have been written. I mean, when was the last time you heard a new song? You're like, yeah, like no, they're pretty bad. Like I feel like all the good music, all the hooks have been kind of written so far.
That's why they write about breakups and stuff like that now.
Yeah, that's true.
Taylor Swift, I shouldn't even say her name. I'm gonna have to go beep. You know what's gonna happen.
I hate Taylor Swift so much. I make him change the channel every time it's on. It's so complaining, so whiny. Tim McGraw, shut up, woman.
All right, you know what? I was gonna do this like this or that fast questions at the end, but I'm gonna throw one of them out right now, and this is then specifically for you, Mindy.
Uh-oh.
Bob Seger or Bad Company?
Bob
Oh,
Seger.
yeah.
CCR is my favorite band, if you can believe it.
Really?
Look how surprised. Yeah, it's my favorite band.
Old man is rubbing
CCR
off on you. I mean,
hell yeah.
Yeah. You can hear me yelling from across the room. Doesn't matter what it is. You know, I just love CCR. It's so American. It's so gritty. I like it.
yeah.
I love Bob Seger, but I would have answered that Bad Company.
Huh.
I like that. I mean, 10 from 6, that Greatest Hits album is probably one of my favorite albums. There's so many amazing songs on that album. And gosh, what was Lori Reed? I remember I dated Lori Reed a little bit in high school, and she was a huge Bad Company fan and kind of got me into it. And yeah.
Dang. Well, you know, I got to tell you, Paul Rogers is probably one of the nicest guys that I've ever come across or met in the music industry. I was doing one of his shows. I was shooting it. I come off the stage, and then he comes off. He looks at me, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Paul Rogers." And I'm like, yeah, I know. And he goes, "If I would have known you were shooting the show, I would have given you space over by the piano." I'm thinking, hey, it's just a pleasure being up here.
Well, he's an amazing singer for sure.
Yeah, he is. I mean, that guy, like you, like the two of you, I mean, you guys are in phenomenal shape. So I don't know what he does, but what's the secret with the two of you?
We very active. I think when I first started dating Mindy, she didn't really work out. She used to go to the gym with me and sit on the apron and watch me train and play on her phone. And then finally I convinced her that, you know, we could adjust these workouts and she could join me. And now she's riding workouts and got me dragging me to them. And, you know, when I retired from fighting, I started that intermittent fasting. I knew I got away with murder. You know, training twice a day, 5 or 6 days a week, I could pretty much eat whatever I wanted. Mm-hmm. And when I retired from fighting in 2011, I knew I wasn't going to be training the same way. And if I tried to eat the same way, I would be a fat bastard in a short time. So I started doing that intermittent fasting back then, and Mindy kind of got on board with that whole program too.
By proxy. I mean, I had no choice. There's just no breakfast. You know what I mean? I'm going to cook myself. This is sad. And I'll snack a little bit more than he does. But yeah, I mean, I was 105 pounds when he met me. I was pretty skinny. Yeah. And then I started getting.
I fattened her up.
Yeah, he did. I had to work out to kind of make up for that too. So I'm like a good 115, which is pretty good for my age and height.
Oh, she's throwing in pretty good for my age. Well,
well, it's true. I mean, like I'm 40. I feel like, in 5 more years, I'm going to be down to eating ground up coffee rinds. Like I feel like I literally eat only like 50. I don't eat a lot, you know. So every year it's less and less. It's so much fun getting older.
I thought you were like 25.
You're right. I don't want to be a good-looking 40-year-old and a questionable 25-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, you know. So I'm just going to start lying and saying I'm 50. I just had a lot of work.
No, no, you can say I'm 50. And this is how good I look. This is how great I look. They'll say, man, you've never aged.
Right? I'm a good 73-year-old, some would say, you know.
Christy Brinkley? Oh my gosh, she looks great. What is she, like 65 or something like that?
Yeah.
I'll even throw in Steven Tyler.
Yeah. Steven's held up pretty well too.
His liver.
Yeah. Well, it's what is he? 70 or something? 72. Sammy Hagar. Although you said you like DLR better, Sammy's.
Sammy last year. Sammy was great performer,
Yeah, he's
amazing
good.
guy.
I just like David.
I kind of I like the Sammy days. I think, obviously, Eddie Van Halen, rest in peace.
Yeah.
I as much as I grew up on the David Lee Roth days of Van Halen, I think the band grew with me too, and it became Sammy Hagar, and that still struck a big chord with me.
Mindy, you're over there singing away. I got to ask you, what's your favorite song by Van Halen?
I just like David Lee Roth. I feel like Sammy Hagar has the better power voice. He never misses. But then, David's got character to his voice. He's got charm. He's gritty. I just like that better.
You know what?
Long, I love it.
This just came to me just now. I'm gonna have to make this an official song for me to you guys in by David Lee Roth. That's life. That's life. Whatever. I don't know the words, but so we're just blowing through none of the questions I had all up here. I've got all these screens all up here, and I'm looking, going, all right, where are we right now? Well, heck, we've just gone right through everything, just nothing in order. But I do want to stick with some of this nutritional kind of stuff because the two of you are in incredible shape. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I'm going to keep going. It is early on, I think maybe when you started your training camp and everything, didn't you have a line of supplements?
Yeah, I used to have a supplement company. When I moved to Vegas 15 years ago, I was working with a doctor, Dr. Fitzgerald, and he specialized in sports nutrition. And him and his son trained at the gym at Extreme Couture. And I was going through a divorce at that time and trying to compete and opening a new business. I was under a lot of stress. And so he saw me. He's like, hey, man, I'd love to do a blood chem panel on you, see what your hormones are doing, see what's going on with you. And so we did that. And those results came back. He's like, dude, I don't know how you're doing anything. You're a mess. So he started me on a supplement regime back then. Within 6 months, we did another panel. My hormones and everything had turned around, gotten back up where they're supposed to. Fight training and fighting in general is very, very hard on your adrenal glands, the stress, which can affect a whole cascade of other hormones, your body fat, your libido, all kinds of things. So through natural supplementation and working with him, I would do blood work every 6 months and we'd tweak it a little bit once we found that initial formula. And I think that allowed me some longevity and, allowed me to fight well into my 40s. I retired at 47. I think we get smarter as we get older. We do a lot less of the stupid shit we did when we were in our 20s.
We say that right after we just hit a tree.
I think that too. I think wrestling, for as long as I wrestled for the national team and at Oklahoma State and all that, well into my 30s, it, again, raised my general fitness level. That allowed me also to continue to compete at a high level, into my late 30s and 40s. Yeah. Some of it is frankly is genetics. I can't. Everybody asks me that question. Certainly, other fighters ask me about that. Was I able to sustain, my body and health and fitness level for so long and well into my 40s? And I think that's becoming more of the norm through the science of athletics. You're seeing more and more guys in their 40s still kicking butt. Look at Breeze. Look at Brady. I mean, there's a plethora of guys out there that are examples of how far we've come in sports science and getting the most out of our bodies. I think what used to be over the hill was 30, and I think that's been pushed back to 40 or somewhere there above 40. So, and I've just kind of got caught up in that space where, I started fighting at 30, 33, almost 34 years old. By most people's estimation, I was already over the hill and I was just getting into the sport. So again, I think wrestling and keeping that competition level high for all those years in wrestling and then transitioning to fighting was a big key for me. Yeah. Me, I think she's just blessed with some good genetics.
No.
Still like this?
Yeah, she's got very strong thumbs.
I do.
So do either one of you actually do like a supplement regiment? Do you take supplements every day, or is it?
I am.
She's
I
going like,
still use the same. Yeah, I still use the same supplement regime that I developed with Dr. Fitzgerald back 15 years ago when I moved to Vegas. It's changed and tweaked a little bit. There's some of the things, the phosphatidylserine, some of the other supplements that I don't take anymore because I'm not getting punched in the face anymore. But I still want to keep a lean body, still stepping in front of the camera with guys like Stallone. You don't want to be walking out there with Dunlop's disease, eating a bonbon. I mean, it's just a really bad idea. And I think Mindy falls in that same category too. She's doing a lot of films, and it's, I think, harder almost for women sometimes to, she goes on a crash diet when she's got a film coming just because she wants to make sure she looks good.
I like my size. I like my weight and everything when I walk around. But when you're on film and when you do appearances and stuff, you have to just shave that down. Kind of like when he would have to wrestle, you kind of have to like lose weight. It just looks better on film. It just sells better because the camera really, really does add a lot of weight. So like, I think I'm fine. And then I'll have like 3 or 4 or 5 days before something. And then he's like, I'm just drinking Red Bull for lunch and just kind of like, just trying to distract myself from like, it's really a crash diet. And then as soon as I'm done, I start right back to where I was. I pop right back. So I go between I'm usually like a size 3, but I'll have to cut down to like a 0 in like a few days. It is not fun. It's a lot of coffee.
The both of you. It's just like the fighting thing. Got to cut down when it's time.
We are competitive.
Get down to fighting weight.
Yeah, he calls it this.
So, Randy, are you taking any acting lessons from her? Because she has a freaking shitload of film credits.
What didn't I?
Reality, the real thing, everything.
I've learned a lot from her. We rehearse a lot together. We study a lot together. She gets parts and I'll read her, parts for her. I'll get parts or auditions. She'll read my side of things. And we both have input back and forth, and but definitely learned a lot from her. She built her acting career from the ground up. I had athletics that kind of opened that door for me and brought me in a little bit different place. But literally, she started from background work and worked her way into features and everything. So I've learned a lot from that journey that she's been on, for sure.
That's really awesome. And I know that, all right, somebody be quiet. It's probably about rehearsal for me tonight. In fact, I know it is.
It's probably badly, because he asked me about this today, and he said he was going to reach out to you to find out when it was going to air.
he did. I mean, it's like bam, and it's like, all right. So I said, no, it's going to be pre-recorded. Then I'm going to put it up on Sunday. And so what he wanted to know is some of the craziest stuff that you have done over the years. So we'll come on that in a second. We'll come to that in a second. And somebody says, I know a few things. But as far as all this acting stuff goes, you guys have got, let's see, Street Death Fight. Is it still in pre-production or is that off?
Oh, that's a lot of things, everything got put on hold. Yeah. I haven't thought about, that's the fight one with, when I did.
Because you were supposed
to. With Lyle. Okay.
Yeah.
Weren't you going to be in that one too, Randy? Or were you in that one as well?
No, I wasn't in that one.
Yeah, you were supposed to be, yeah.
You were supposed to be.
In the first one, right?
And but they wanted you for the second one.
But we
never made the second one. COVID happened. There's so many gigs up in the air. I mean, I'll do them anyway. I don't care about them. But, there's just so many productions. It's not, especially if it's SAG, it's not worth making a movie right now. They're going to shut everything down if one person pops. Even if it's not like, even if it's like not real and they're not really sick, they'll shut everything down and you have to pay everyone for 2 weeks. And so there's no project. So no one wants to do that. So I'm still doing, independent film, but that's pretty much it. That's all that's going on right now.
Yeah. It's pretty sad out there right now for entertainment industry as a whole, I think, especially like you said, film, television film, any of that.
Helping action movies come out this week. Independent film's doing great. It's Hollywood that's struggling. There's no theater movies, none of that stuff. It doesn't affect me. My movies go straight to streaming. They're done frugally with, kind of familiar faces. So we're able to, I'm still filming. I just did the John Schneider one. So I've got 4 movies out this month. So there's still things going on, but you're not going to see another Marvel movie. Not that they would have me in them anyway. So,
last night when we were texting back and forth, I was actually sitting in a movie theater watching a movie.
Oh, wow.
I didn't think they were still around.
Regal, they've closed them all. AMC has opened up some of them, but I think they lost the third quarter year over year, something like a third quarter loss is something like 900 million.
Oh my God.
Year over year, they're down 90.9%.
Well, yeah, that's gonna happen.
That's
They
crazy.
should have just opened.
Crazy.
If you like horror movies, but if you like great stories, come play. Come play.
Oh.
That was, yeah. I that's what I was sitting in. And I'm not kidding. At the end, I'm like choking up, ready to cry.
And that's a horror movie?
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be this D-rate bad movie. It was like, I'll just go, you know. There. It was good. Had a great story, and if you really looked into it, I mean, it was my takeaway on part of it was, don't just stay busy on this all the time. Have a life. But no, you have to kind of check it out.
Okay. Come to play.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting. Yeah. We've been, especially since the accident, we've just been binge watching everything.
Yellowstone, Ozarks,
Peaky Blinders, you name it. If it was a series, we would binge watch while we were recovered. And
we couldn't walk. I couldn't walk.
Make ourselves get up and do a lap
Yeah,
around.
we could feed the goats. That was our big exercise. We were so sad, shuffle up there, giving grapes. They were so cute.
Wait a second. Feed the goats? You got goats?
We have a little ranch in Arizona outside of Flagstaff. We just closed and settled into in July. So we've been kind of hiding out there, and that's actually where the accident happened.
Yeah,
was
front
at
yard.
the ranch.
It happens.
So we've been kind of hanging out, hiding out, whatever you want to call it, in the mountains in Arizona.
How are you going to take that Wildcat out for a fast drive out there?
Not out there. That has not made that trip out the gravel roads. No,
it's a dirt road. It's about 5 miles down a dirt road. So
Flagstaff is a pretty nice area. I like that, but man, it can get a lot of snow.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Oh, too much snow sometimes.
He likes it. He loves the snow.
Do ya?
Yeah, he's a lumberjack.
I mean, we get a fair share of that. I love going to the mountains in the Pacific Northwest, both hunting and skiing and all of that stuff. So having having all that right there, the seasons and everything. Everybody thinks of Arizona and they think of Phoenix and 120-degree heat, and they don't realize that 2 hours up the road is amazing mountains and wilderness, elk and deer and bears and all that stuff. And so it's really a unique and pretty fun spot to be.
Yeah, it is. I was white knuckling it coming from Flagstaff to Sedona. Instead of taking the straight route, there's this.
We've been on that. Yes.
Oh, I'm like,
remember?
Yeah.
That was a bad idea.
yeah, I know.
It's beautiful.
Scared the crap out of me.
It was busy. Yeah, we did that.
So, kind of sticking with the movies and all that kind of stuff. I know with the way things are going right now, with COVID and everything, but are there any plans for you to do something in 2021? I know that there's possible talks of a part 4.
Yes. We've seen the script for part 4. It's going to be very interesting. The script is great. Mm-hmm. We were supposed to start filming this fall, and obviously that didn't happen. So I haven't heard when we're pushing to, but the project is certainly still there and going to come on and get shot at some point. Right now, we're focused in pre-production for a script that Mindy wrote called The Demon Pit, Dark Angels. It's kind of a supernatural action thriller. We were supposed to start filming that May 1st, and the COVID shut us down. We were trying to get it back on the docket for August, but with the SAG protocols, it was just going to be impossible to stay on budget with everything going on. So right now in December, we're jumping back into pre-production, get everything back rolling, get our cast back in line, and then hopefully early January, mid-January, we'll be starting shooting of Dark Angels. And then I've got an offer on the table for another film called The 22, where I'll play a Marine Corps sergeant. And I'm excited about that one. It shines a light on the suicide and PTSD rate that our veterans are dealing with. So I'm excited to play a part in that and be part of that. That will shoot in the San Diego area supposedly in February right now. So hopefully those things stay on track and we get to do both of those projects. And at some point, I suspect sometime the end of next summer, we'll start filming, hopefully Expendables 4. But that's not official. I have seen a script. I think they're planning on using that script. It's an interesting story and a lot of amazing action. So it should be.
Yeah. I'm going to put it out there. Mindy, is he going to get you in this film?
It's kind of a guy's film, so unless I want to like identify as an older action hero, I don't think they really like let me in.
A long-time love interest or something?
Whatever.
Now, you two have not acted in any films together, right?
We have a couple.
Oh, you have?
That's actually how we met. We met on a film called Stretch with Jason.
It's about limos. You have to say that because it sounds.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson was the star. It had Ed Helm, Jessica Alba, Chris Pine, a ton of great cast in that film. Norman Reedus. I mean, it's a really dark comedy, really funny. I don't have any lines in the movie. Most people that see the movie don't even know it's me. I'm wearing a wig, a cowboy hat. I'm smoking a cigarette, which is something I've never done before. It really made me sick, honestly. But, for the part, I pulled it off. The director was insistent that this character had to have a plume of smoke over him at all times. It was kind of a Russian limo driver. So it was a fun character, but a fun movie. And that's how we actually met. And then we've done a couple other movies.
Range 15.
We Range 15 together. She was in Antidote. Those are out on the digital platforms. What was the other one?
I don't remember. Yeah.
I was going to say, was it Love at First Sight?
Okay. I didn't talk in that one, so. But, whatever. Yeah, we met trying to get David Hasselhoff in a limo. So, what a crazy story, right? Like,
that was a movie.
And it was like 125 degrees. We're in like a Bentley with no AC. And, he had to smoke. And I'm a non-smoker all my life. I just felt so bad. Like, I was like, oh, it's so hot and so gross. I don't know anyone does that. 110.
So, it is true, then, when you go on set for production, people do connect.
Yeah, I was involved with someone at that time, and I didn't want to have that conversation. I think she was actually involved with someone at that time too. So it wasn't like but I was forward thinking enough to when we sat down in the van to go back to base camp. The set photographer passes around a clipboard to get all of our emails so that he can get the pictures that he's taken behind the scenes approved. And make sure they're the ones you like. And of course, she's sitting next to me in the van, so she writes her email down.
It's got my name on it. So.
Pretty easy to remember. And so I remembered her email, or stole her email, however you want to look at that. And then
if
a few months
cute,
later,
that would be a creeper move, wouldn't it? If he wasn't this handsome, it'd be a really creeper move. I found your email.
So a few months later, the situation I was in fell apart. Basically, I was single again, and I was leaving for Expendables 3. So from Bulgaria, where we shot Expendables 3, I started emailing her, saying, "Hey, we need to go out on a date. Look, I'll be back in October." Kind of set up a date for when I came back from Expendables 3, and we had our first date back then. That was just about 7 years ago. Just the other day was 7 years ago of that first date. And so we dated for a while, for a few months, and then we kind of became an official couple that New Year's. So this coming New Year's will be our 7-year anniversary.
Wow. Hey, so Mindy, how long did you really wait? I'm in Bulgaria. We set up a date. I'll be there in a couple of months.
I wasn't looking, and I think that's what happens when you're not looking. You don't make excuses. You don't settle for. You don't do stuff. Like I was so busy. Like I did 3 movies one of the months we met. I was just so busy. So I had my own things going on and stuff like that. But he was in Vegas and I lived in Hollywood. So in order to really see each other, there was going to have to be more time spent. And eventually it didn't make sense to be paying, $3,000 a month for a studio apartment. So I just, put my stuff in storage and it's still there.
7 years later, still there.
It is. It was pretty ugly stuff. It's okay.
Oh. So being together that long, you probably know pet peeves. So, some people like me will have the fork tines up or down situation.
Oh,
that must be something there for somebody. Or
I was figure out what you mean.
The
So
fork
we all have our quirks. We all have our little things that, yeah, I'm kind of a neat freak. Everything kind of has its place. My supplements, my sink in the bathroom, my clothes, they're all folded. And she's the opposite of that.
To be fair, it's a time issue. Like how many times we were traveling nonstop. I come home, dump my suitcase, throw things back in it, and we had to leave that day and stuff like that. But as you notice in Arizona, when I have time, I'm actually very, very clean and organized.
it's because she just has
something.
flip-flops and a bikini. How messy can you get with that?
Yeah, well, that wouldn't hurt my feelings if that was the attire every single day.
Yeah, but it's no. I'm clean when I have time, though.
So is Randy as bad as making sure like the white shirts are on white hangers, the black shirts are on black? And
his biggest issue is his socks. Oh my God. I do his laundry. And if there's a loose sock, you would think it was the end of this world. And it would be like, a 20-minute conversation. It's blue, Mindy. There's a gray stripe. Looks like this one. It looks like, I know, but I'm not done with clothes. And so when I do the clothes and I'm missing a sock, I'm like, oh, do I just hide it so he doesn't know? I don't want to have this thing.
Good socks that fit and are comfortable are a commodity, and you hate to see them they get lost in the wash every single time. Some of that is my Army days too. All my socks are folded a particular way. Everything goes in a particular place.
It's a sock.
That's just how I'm wired. I was that way as a kid, and I think it got exasperated even more with 6 years in the Army.
Oh, and to get fancier, he actually has socks that are so fancy, there's left and right. So you have to match up a left.
No way.
Yeah, I'm like, what? I think I'm just going to throw them all out, buy nice socks. They're all going to match. Something like that.
You know what's crazy about socks going missing is the wash machine and dryer drums are only like yay big, and it's like,
yeah,
where'd they go?
Pants leg, they'll pop out they'll pop out in a pants leg like a year later.
There's a sock fairy somewhere that's just collecting these things.
It's with the lids to my Tupperware. That's where they are.
I'm with you on that too. I know. It's like, I swear, I had more lids that's going to fall. They're gone. I have no idea where they're at. So
But you buy new ones, but you never throw out the old lids, so you just keep, just a whole menagerie of mismatched Tupperware. I don't know.
Randy, your bottom cupboards in the kitchen must be full of Tupperware.
There's quite a display of Tupperware over there, yes. And, it's amalgamation of moving, here and there. And, basically we have 3 different households. We have a little condo in LA that we rent, and because we're there all the time, and we have Unbreakable, the gym there with Jake Glazier, and, my agent, my manager, Mindy's stuff there in LA. So we're in LA a fair amount. And then we have the new kind of second home in the Flagstaff area, the ranch house. And then our residence is here in Nevada, just outside of Vegas, outside of town. So, keeping up with 3 households, it's a challenge. Sounds like, real third world problems. I know.
Yeah.
Nice houses.
And here, I was going to ask you about travel and your plans, but all you got to do is go from one house to the next. What?
Kind of do that.
Yeah, it keeps gives us kind of our own space in LA when we're there, and obviously this is home here in Vegas. I had a second home in the mountains in Colorado that I loved, and I've had for 12 years, and it was just so far away and so hard to get to. I expected when I retired from fighting that things would slow down, and I would have more time to hang out at the mountain house. And it's been just the opposite. I've been busier than I've ever been. You know, my good friend who lived in the Colorado next door ended up taking care of my damn place all the time because I was never there. And it was kind of a rub for him. And I understood that. He felt like he was being taken advantage of. And I felt bad about it, but it was what it was. I was working, I was doing what I've been doing for the last 9 or 10 years. And so it was hard for me to let that place go. But we found this amazing place in south side of Flagstaff, and it's really, really worked out well. It's a 3-hour drive. We can be there any long weekend. We've already, since we got it in July, used that more than we've used the Colorado house in 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
well,
it worked out.
someplace in that area, not necessarily, I don't think it was Flagstaff, but more down in maybe it was Sedona, about the ley lines and all that, and the Earth's natural forces and energy.
Yeah.
There's like a central location there someplace. And I think it's in Sedona.
I think I've heard a little about it, and we've driven through Sedona. We've been to Jerome. We've kind of been through the Prescott Valley and the forest, the petrified forest. That was the word I was looking for. A lot of that. Interestingly, we did an Airstream trip because we got an Airstream last summer, and we did it through that part of Arizona. And now this summer, we actually found a place in our living very close to where we stayed in the Airstream.
We passed by the campsite. We just loved this. It was 4th of July, and we were kind of just bringing the Airstream back from Colorado because it's a long drive. But we took our time. We saw stuff. And he's just sitting here, and it's green, and there's ponderosas. And when you're camping, it's like the happiest. Everyone's happy when you're camping. You're eating your hot dogs. The kids are busy doing stuff. Everyone's happy and patriotic and all this other stuff. And he's just like, let's stay another day. It was just, we really liked it. And then of all places, he was looking in Utah to find another close place. It's not a 14-hour drive, something closer we could use. And I'm like, why not Flagstaff? We liked it so much. It's 3 hours away. It's closer than LA. And we looked, and the first place we looked at, I fell in love with it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great place.
Nice. It's nice.
So I think there is a photo of the two of you that you posted on like an Instagram, probably within the past month or so. Was that from the past or was it recent?
That was at the south rim of the Grand Canyon. That was both of our first time going to the Grand Canyon. And we had a friend in town, and he had his 9-year-old daughter. So we took them to the Grand Canyon to check it out. And it was amazing. Really, really great day walking around and looking at the sights and the view of the Grand Canyon.
Wow. That was the first time I was walking around too. That was right after the
accident. That was right after
like my first
accident.
long walk after it.
So where's the little glass thing that jets out?
That's expensive. They really get you. It's on like Indian land, and it's like $100 and some dollars for one person.
The Skywalk. That's I think a little closer to Vegas.
It might be.
And to the dam, and I've seen the signs for the turn off to that, and it's over on the other side of Kingman, I believe. So a ways away from that area that we were in on the south rim.
There's no way that you get me to walk out there. I don't care how safe they say
crawling.
That'll make you butt pucker for sure.
It was bad enough me going up in the stratosphere, and then the little tiny glass plate like that. I'm just looking down, going, and then I swear you could feel the building do this just ever so slightly.
Sweat.
No, I'm keeping my feet on the ground. Now when I go to hotels, I kid you not, I ask for the first floor, and if they don't have any rooms first, okay, nothing above the second floor, please. So,
Awesome.
It just scares the crap out of me. I kind of stay along with that travel stuff. Do you guys have any plans to travel anywhere? I mean, is there a dream place, a vacation, or some place that you two want to go?
I think the one place that I have not been that I would like to experience, and I know Mindy has been, is Thailand. And going to the beaches and obviously I'm a huge fan of Muay Thai, of that form of kickboxing, something that I studied and trained in for fighting. I've never been to that part of the world. We had an amazing trip 3 years ago now to Prague. I was working on a film down there, and we stayed 3 or 4 weeks in the Czech Republic in Prague. And man, what an amazing place. If you ever get a chance to spend any time there, the history and the buildings and everything there, because a lot of it wasn't bombed in the Second World War. So a whole bunch of it's still standing and still in amazing condition. But we had a great trip there. We stayed in an old convent.
Yeah.
It was actually really fun.
It was
really
cool.
Wow. Mindy, where do you want to go?
You know, I don't know about what were you gonna say?
She wants to go to Australia.
I
She's
do.
not
I
been
do
to
wanna go to
Australia
Australia. I haven't
yet.
been
And
there
I've been
yet.
there several times. And it's a great country. I love going down there. Amazing. It's funny. A lot of, Americans aren't naturally known for their geography skills. And everybody thinks Australia is small. It's actually it's a huge country, a massive country. So,
Confident.
yeah, but it's fun. It's a great place to go. I honestly don't think I've met an Australian that I didn't like.
You're the friendliest people. I've never met a mean Australian.
I'm going to have to go. I've never been to Australia either. I do want to see the giant granite rock?
Ayers Rock. Yeah, that's out in the Outback Park.
Oh, we just saw that movie. I made him for Halloween. Because we have a dingo. We have an Australian cattle dog. So we've realized everyone knows that a dingo ate my baby, but none of us have actually seen the movie. So we all watched that on Halloween.
And that took place right by
out
Ayers
there.
Rock.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to camp with no babies though when we're bringing.
Yeah, no babies out there. No little kids.
My baby. That's all we said for like 3 days. A dingo.
You know, that is going to be stuck in my head now for at least 48 hours.
It's actually a pretty interesting movie.
It is. Because I told him the story. He's like, oh, and then you watch it. He's like, well, of course they're innocent. Just look, they're never going to get convicted. And by the end, he's yelling at the TV. You know.
Well, and you look at some of the ongoings of today and how the media affects things, and that's definitely what happened in this particular case. So it's certainly indicative of where we're at right now.
Yeah, it really was. The media judged them as guilty, and it affected the court case when they couldn't have been more innocent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is tough with the media thing, and I you two probably know it far better than a lot of people what the media can twist or what they can put out, and then people like us will fill in the gaps. But it seems like sometimes they'll purposely put it out and leave the gaps and let you fill it in because they don't want to get thrown the fake news kind of thing, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I think Mindy and I both learned that early on because we've both done a significant amount of reality TV. And I was involved in a few seasons of The Ultimate Fighter, Gym Rescue, Fight Master, other reality TV shows, and as not a contestant, but as a coach and a host and things like that. And man, they can edit anything and make you look a particular way, or take words out of your mouth, or put words in your mouth. That editing process is a very powerful thing. And I think Mindy learned that too.
I was good at it. Like I did about 40 network reality shows on different levels, sometimes multiple episodes and that kind of thing. And I would see things like, especially the dating shows, would be open bar. And I'm like, I ain't touching that. I'm already weird enough. Like, I don't need to be drunk on TV, but that's kind of what they do. But to me, it was improv comedy practice. So I just would be a character and just be funny. And I know they're going to use that. But if it starts getting boring or, you start drinking, it's going to go bad,
Yeah.
So you have to understand from their viewpoint what they want and what you want to appear to. Because when you do a reality show, even if you want to make up a crazy character, people are going to think that's you. So whatever you do, you're married to it. Let it be part of you, because it's a lot easier to just be you on camera than, pretend to be something or try to be interesting and that kind of stuff. So,
I think we see a lot of fighters falling into that trap.
Yeah.
They create these personas that are larger than life, that talk a lot of smack, that do and say a bunch of things that they would probably never really do every day. And the problem with that is now that's the public thinks that's who they are.
Yeah.
And so when they see them, I know I've had this conversation with Tito Ortiz. He was kind of the first bad boy in MMA, talked a lot of trash. You knew when you were signed to fight with him, it was gonna, there was gonna be a lot of stuff go on. And I talked to him in private and personal, and that's how people expect him to be all the time. And he's not that way.
He's so
all
nice.
The time.
Yeah.
He did that to kind of promote himself and to market himself. And now obviously we've seen Chael Sonnen, Kobe Covington, certainly Conor McGregor in MMA take all of that to a whole new level. And there are promotions that are rewarding that kind of behavior and that kind of stuff. And so a lot of young guys think that's what they need to do to get the nod, to get a chance, to get a crack at the title. And unfortunately, I think that does a disservice to our sport. What's really important is what happens inside that cage and how you represent yourself and how you compete. And I hate to see us stray away from that being the emphasis of what's important.
Yeah, it certainly seems like that you have this, you've got the sports and you've got what the athlete is there to do and wants to do. But then you have these network executives or something. It's a business. So it's like we have to build this superhero character, or we have to build this evil villain. And people like me out here were like, I hate that whatever. Or, dude, that's like that guy is so cool, man. I know him. You do? Well, no, not really, but he's really cool on TV. It's like,
yeah. Well, I know in the fight game that, they want you they want it to develop a reason for you to tune in. Are you going to watch because you want to see that guy get his ass kicked? Or are you going to watch because you want to see him get his hand raised? I mean, it's one or the other. And so creating that polarization is what generates heat.
Yeah. I guess you can't fault him, right? For
at the end of the day, it's still a business.
Yeah.
But my wrestling and martial arts roots, I would love to see that respect and all that other stuff that I think is indigenous in our sport stay there and not be replaced with sensational
WWE
stunt, publicity stunts and trash talking.
Yeah. Hey, I know that we're taking up a lot of your time, but there's just a couple more things. Like I said, Beggarly wanted you to share if there's anything that you've done crazy that.
No, me and Mark kind of lost track of each other for probably 10 years. He was down in Lower Alabama, Fairhope. And he was going through a rough patch. He was having a party down there. And he'd reached out to me recently. He was going through a divorce, which is something that I've experienced, which is not fun. And so he'd reached out to me. We were sharing some insights on getting through that adversity. And he was having a big party down there with some comedians and a band. And so I flew down for the party. And that turned into a pretty crazy weekend. Had another friend come up from Georgia. We ended up consuming large quantities of alcoholic adult beverages. And next thing you know, trying to get my rent-a-car home on Sunday and everything else turned into a major fiasco. I think we burned up Mark's golf cart.
It was a golf cart, wasn't it? Yeah. So before people start making the letter campaign, it was a golf cart.
That was, and Mark's probably laughing. Well, we'll be laughing, I hope, when he hears this interview. But that was a pretty wild time.
Wow.
He had a very interesting, unique name for the party, and
not quite right.
Party.
I wasn't even there. This is pre-Mindy. So.
NQR, not quite right. That's what he was calling the party, and it turned out he was an accurate handle for that party.
Dang. I got to say, Randy, one of the coolest things, and Mindy, this is for you, for me telling Randy, is what's great about you is you've gone to a level that's up here, but you still communicate and are friends with your friends from years ago. So
those are the folks that know me, that know the real me, the guys I was in high school with, the guys I was in college with, the guys I was served with in the Army. Those are the guys that saw me riding around on a 10-speed, to and from class and from where I live to base every day at work. And they know me, the real me. There's this guy that fought and is acting and doing all this other stuff. And there's the public perception of that character, of that person. And that's certainly part of me. It's not like I put on any facade or anything, but those guys they're part of my roots. They know the real me, the real me that struggled with a lot of things, that did grow up in a single parent household and, was married at 19 years old with a kid on the way and all that stuff. So, those are, I don't know. I hope I don't ever forget that part of where I came from and who I am.
Yeah. Mindy, do you still stay in touch with some of your friends from
Yeah.
not so long ago because you're so young?
Oh God. It's that's life, and I think I like social media as much as I complain about I'm getting censored and kicked off a dozen times. Social media allows us to see and hear from people we went to high school with, which would be a long time ago, or college, or any of the different places that I lived. For the most part, even after this election, most of them are still, on there and talking to me and stuff like that. And it's really neat to see their kids and pictures of, them grow up. And I don't know, it is, I think it kind of keeps us more connected in a way where, 20 years ago, you're not writing that letter. You don't even know anyone's phone number. You're actually able to still keep in contact with them. And some of my friends have been around for I still talk to the people from high school. You got to meet a few of them. They're funny.
Yeah. Well, there was a good 10-year stretch there. I was in the Army and in college, and there was no social media back then. I was out of the loop. I didn't see very many folks come home to Seattle occasionally to see my mom and my family, run into Jeff or Tim or, some of the old high school buddies back, once in a while, but it wasn't like we had regular communication. And then, when I got out of college, I moved to Oregon and coached at Oregon State. And I think when I was back in the Pacific Northwest, I reconnected with a whole bunch of people that I hadn't seen and talked to. We had a 20-year reunion that I got to go to, and that rekindled a bunch of those relationships and stuff from when I was younger. But there was 10 years there where I didn't see a whole lot of anybody. And now with, started with MySpace, now with the other social media platforms, that's the one positive there, that it does allow us to keep in track and in touch with a lot of those folks that would have a lot more challenging before.
Thank goodness for the birthday things. I never remember, right? I think this is the only reason you remember anyone's birthday. You're like, oh no, and you have to get on there because you see the warning. But
Hey, Mindy, did you know his 40th is coming up?
Oh, am I dating a younger man now?
Oh no!
40th school reunion.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
No.
It's like, oh my God. Look at how damn good that man is right there next to you.
Did we get to spike the punch? Did we get to? Is it like one of those old timey ones?
You know what? You two have to go, and Mindy, you and I will spike the punch, and we'll feed it to the man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So 2 more real quick. You're retired from fighting.
Yep.
You have this career now as an actor. Is this your life career now from here on out? Is this what you're gonna do? Is this what you want to do?
Yeah, I'm very passionate about the process of acting and playing characters. I'm also interested in the other facets of the industry. I certainly have clear pictures when I read a script. I would like to be a director or try directing at some point, try telling the story.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, I definitely want to do that. It's not something I ever saw myself doing. I was never in the school play. I think it was in the 6th grade school Christmas play. I played Tiny Tim. What year was that? 1970, 74 or 75 maybe.
Wow.
But that was it. And we at Linwood, we had drama and all that stuff, but I was never into that stuff. I never did any of that stuff. I was a jock. I was always on whatever sports team was going on that time of year. So this was something athletics and professional athletics opened that door for me. And I got my first movie opportunity, Cradle to the Grave. It was a cool experience to see that movie magic. It's like going to Oz and getting to pull back the curtain and see the guy pulling the levers and making the smoke and fire. I mean, it was that kind of awe-inspiring to see it, firsthand from the ground up. And that had created an intrigue and something I saw that I could do and try to be good at. And, obviously for a long time, the fighting came first. If the fight I wasn't going to take a movie that was going to interfere with a fight or a fight camp or a schedule for fighting. And then once I retired, I could devote all my time and energy to getting better acting jobs and focusing more on just acting. But I have a couple other businesses, obviously the gym industry, the clothing, some of that grew out of fighting and seeing the niches and needs of fighters being a fighter. I had an electronics company that I started in Oregon with a close friend of mine. We were fortunate enough to actually sell the company just before the COVID broke out. So that one's gone, but him and I are still great friends. We're looking, at other things we can invest in and get involved in together. So we'll see. I have an entrepreneurial spirit in some ways, and so there's certainly other things that I'm interested in, but acting is what's taken up most of my time now.
Cool. Yeah, definitely can't wait to see you in more of the films, and especially number 4 coming up. Mindy, and I'm gonna rent The Stretch and see how all this began.
It's one scene. Don't get too excited, but it's a really cool movie. Like, it's a dark comedy. We just watched it again a little while ago, and it was really cool.
It was well done. Joe Carnahan is the director.
He did Smoking Aces, The Gray. Great director.
He's a good director. Very good director. So, it was supposed to be a theatrical film, and he got into a big rhubarb with Universal, and it ended up just coming out on the streaming platforms. But it's a really dark, funny comedy.
I will. I promise I'll check it out. Now, I want to do this or that, like I said earlier.
Okay.
There's so much still to ask you, but I'm not going to take up your time. So this is for both of you too. Because now we know that you like Bad Company. She's a Bob Seger. So cars or motorcycles?
What is it?
Cars or motorcycles?
Oh boy, that's a tough one.
Motorcycles. Or you do like cars?
That's one of the things both my dad and my stepdad were into was cars and working on cars. Again, that do-it-yourself mentality that I think used to exist up in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest. And Tim Deachman, we used to work on his 57 Chevy pickup all the time. And I took all the auto shop classes. Your old Dodge Dart that used to be in there. That was a badass car.
Yes, it was.
I've always kind of been into cars, but I had a motorcycle that I used to ride to school too my senior year. And I didn't get my first road bike, like real road bike, until I moved here to Vegas. And now I think I have 4 road bikes out there. So gosh, that's a tough one for me to pick one or the other, but I think I'm going to have to go with muscle cars. I'm much bigger fan of muscle cars.
So far, this is really good and interesting. You've picked separate things. So we've got acting or producing.
Ooh, acting.
Yeah,
acting
actually,
for
sure.
sure.
It's the more fun part.
All right.
Producing's like the labor of it. Like sometimes I just want to show up, do my lines, do your thing. When you're actually like working on something, that's all day. There's no downtime.
I haven't had a director's experience yet. So, I directed a music video that came out, and that's it. That's been my experience there, and that was fun. And, we both had the similar vision on the story we wanted to tell with the song, and creating a video to capture that. And that was a fun experience. But I still think acting, finding a way to capture that character and tell the truth in that story with that character is the part of the process that I really fell in love with, and that I would definitely say acting.
Yeah, speaking of the directing and the music video, I was going to ask if you're going to be one of those triple threat kind of guys and get into singing, become a musician as well.
He does share karaoke.
I've done some karaoke. I've gotten to know some country stars through our foundation for wounded veterans, and they always inevitably end up dragging me up on stage to play and sing with them. I wouldn't say that I'm a good singer, but I can do okay.
You wrote songs. You've written songs.
I've got 2 songs that have been recorded that I wrote. I was a literature major in college. And I started writing prose and poetry when I was in college in the 90s. So, I write all the time, and I didn't realize the similarities between writing prose or poetry and writing lyrics for songs until I met a couple of these musicians and ended up writing a song with Elvis Monroe. Ben Carey wrote a little guitar riff. He was a guest staying at my house when he moved from California to Vegas. And they had a chorus. They had this riff and this chorus, and they were stuck with lyrics. And they knew I wrote some poetry. So they said, hey, maybe you can write this. And they gave it to me. And so I started playing around with it. And within a couple of days, I'd written all the verses for this song. And they loved it. And they ended up recording it. And then, I wear this black ring on my first finger just about every single day. And the company's called Groove Life. They're a silicone ring, and they're really comfortable. And this one signifies the 22 soldiers that we lose every single day to PTSD and suicide. And so I wear that. I can put that over my heart. And I was at a New Year's Eve party in Nashville with a friend of mine, who's Jared Blake, who's a country singer from The Voice and so on and so forth. And I'd had a few adult beverages. He does not drink. So, but to his dismay, he was stone cold sober, and my drunk ass was up in his face, poking him with my ring, saying, 22, 22, man. And he had no idea what I was talking about. So he called me the next day and thanked me for inviting him and his wife out to our party. And he said, dude, you kept poking me in the chest and screaming 22 at me. What the hell were you talking about? And so I explained the stats and what it signified and all that. He was like, oh my gosh, we should write a song. And so the next day he reserved the studio that he uses, and a friend of his, Eric Landis, and I, and we went to the studio and we sat down, and about 3 hours later we had this song called the 22. And it's really dark and really powerful. Daryl Worley, who did Have You Forgotten after 9/11, which was a huge song for him after the 9/11 tragedy, fell in love with this song, the 22. And so he asked if he could record it. We were like excited that he's got such a perfect voice for that song, and he recorded it. And we're just waiting for him to release it now. So the song will eventually come out. I'm hoping that it will make some waves, certainly in the veteran community and with the civilian population, understanding where they're at and what PTSD means and how it affects them. And I'm really proud of that song. Just not many people know that one's out there. You can look up Elvis Monroe on iTunes. Holy Water is the name of the song that we wrote together, and that was out there on iTunes. The 22 will be coming out, I think, in this next year with Daryl Worley. Okay. Film that I'm doing in San Diego, again, is called The 22, and it's about that. And I'm trying to get the song to be part of the soundtrack for the album or for the movie. So that would be really cool if we get that done, because it just fits the story of the movie very, very well. So we'll see. But that's one of the things I kind of fell into through this charity work and getting to know some of these country music stars that have been so generous with their time and their talent to help us raise funds and awareness for soldiers in transition. So it's been cool.
And thank you for serving, and thank you for doing everything that you do for veterans. And I know we've got Veterans Day just right around the corner. So
yeah, Elvis Monroe is doing a big virtual concert coming up on Veterans Day that weekend here in Vegas. It's going to be really cool. I'm not sure where Jared Blake is at. Him and Daryl, both two of the most active musicians, traveling overseas, going to Jordan, going to the Middle East, go to all these places where our guys are stationed and performing for them. Both Daryl and Jared are really, really busy with that. So I'm proud to know those guys and call them friends.
We're really bad at lightning rounds.
Yeah, it's a good thing we did the Bob Seger thing. Here's one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I call it sneakers or tennis shoes. Sneakers or dress shoes?
Cowboy boots. Why is that an option?
Because it is.
This guy, not a dress shoe guy. I have dress shoes, but I only wear them when I have to. I'm much more comfortable in my sneakers or my flip-flops.
Mindy?
I only wear sneakers to work out. I'm not the sneaker rocker. And plus it's hot. So it's usually flip-flops if I'm comfortable, and then cowboy boots for everything else. Even red carpets now. I'm over wearing heels. I really am. Like I just did like a gala where I'm speaking for like this $2,000 plate dinner. Cowboy boots. I just don't care. Like,
Ma'am, is that something that fell off the back of your cowboy shoes back there?
Drag
horse in the pasture. Sorry.
Carpet, my bad.
All right. So Friday night, out on the town or at home watching a movie?
Out in the town doing what? That's so vague.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go out on
Vegas.
I think we're gonna go out of town and have dinner, and then we're gonna come home and watch a movie.
That is the best.
That's
right.
Our MO most of the time.
Okay, here's one: cheeseburger or pizza?
Pizza.
Pizza. Yeah, I'll go with pizza.
You two picked the ones that you picked together the same, are good ones that you picked together that are same. And the ones that you were separate actually is really good because it fills the gap. It's just like there's no need fighting because we could do both. That is good. Dan, this has been really great. So I mean, I really appreciate the two of you coming on. It's great meeting you, Mindy. So
Hey, I don't usually do the podcast. I'm like, what are they going to talk to me about? Like, I thought it'd be all fighting and stuff. I'm like, I think I just like coming on, off, like something, and then just leave. But no, this is actually quite nice. So.
hey, I wanted to talk to you about where you came from and all that, but damn, we are like really into this a long time, and I did not mean to keep you two on this long at all.
All good. Happy to be here. Let's be honest, there isn't a whole lot going on, so it happened to fit.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to be on like one of my other podcasts that I did, and I had to whittle it down. It was 3.5 hours.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I was going, no.
Dude.
Cutting that down to 56 minutes. That was it.
Oof.
All right. So this is kind of, let's see if there's anything up here. No, we did that. Fast food. Do you guys still enjoy fast food? I mean, I forgot to ask you about that because we were talking about the health and fitness and everything, but
yeah,
do you cheat every once in a while?
You know, we were driving to Colorado. We still had the Colorado place once, and we decided, well, we got to get gas, so let's stop at this Arby's and get some Arby's. And by the time we finished the drive that day, we both had the trots. It was not very pleasant to be driving in the condition that we were in. About the only fast food that we eat. We've gotten into this habit. When we drive, Kingman is kind of halfway from Vegas to the place in Arizona. So we'll go through the drive-through at the Wendy's.
Wendy's is pretty healthy, though.
Wendy's is one of the only fast foods that I've been able to eat that didn't make me feel bad. Didn't make me feel, oh, God, what did I do?
Yeah. Chick-fil-A and Wendy's. This is the only.
They make great lemonade. I haven't drank a soda in over 20 years, so I don't drink soda. We'll get a lemonade there, and she loves their spicy chicken sandwich. I like their cheeseburger, but the spicy chicken sandwich is a good option too for me. So
we don't even get the fries anymore. So it's really just sandwich, and that's just lunch. And then he'll make me have a large lemonade so you can finish it. Because I'm like, a little dainty thing. He's like, get the large, and then I just see him just, I'm like, you just drank 2 lemonades. I'm impressed. You still get an hour and a half to get home with it.
I think that's the extent of it for our fast food. We have some great restaurants around here that we like to go to that are good food and well-made food. I don't really consider that fast food.
No, it's farm to table, basically. Like it's made from scratch. It doesn't come out of a microwave or something gross.
Yeah, we had a place that's half a mile from here called Zest Bistro. That it's like our Cheers.
Yeah, you walk in there, hey.
We know all the bartenders. We know all the servers.
There's specials, so the menu's constantly changing, and it's just awesome. Yeah. Everything's good.
We eat there a lot. We probably eat out more than we should.
But in Arizona, we don't have an option. Everything's home. But normally, we just don't have time. I mean, when I cook, it's like a 3-hour thing. So if we don't have the time, we just go.
That's the thing that would surprise most people about Mindy is that she's a very good cook. She's a damn good cook.
Very modest about it too.
Hey, Randy, when you have some of your old friends from the high school days come and visit, I want to be included because I want to taste some of this food.
Oh, yeah. Pot pie. Homemade pot pie. That's my favorite.
Oh, really?
Who doesn't love a good homemade pot pie with the crust and it's just out of the oven? You get the gravy and it's healthy. It's vegetables and meat. I make everything from scratch. It's healthy when I make it from scratch.
I'm getting really hungry right now.
See? He won't tell me what his favorite thing is, though. He will not tell me.
Because I can't pick. They're all good.
See what I mean?
That means there's no complaints. Doesn't matter what you fix.
I screwed up once.
Oh, that was funny.
Uh-oh. Was it on the main course or dessert?
Like bang shrimp. No, I made bang shrimp. And it was really tasty. Like, I'm blowing through it. And he's just like, man. I
ate my first one. I'm like, Mitch, you forgot to take the shells off these shrimp.
What are you talking about?
He's 8 in. She's eating the shell.
Like, oh, yeah, I didn't do that.
These are crunchy.
The shell, legs, everything. Well, the heads were off, and I didn't think about it. So, my bad.
So, where are you from?
Yeah.
My bad.
She's an asshole.
I'm an asshole.
Oh, that's good. God, yeah. So I think there's just a whole lot of stuff here, but we're not going to go through it. But again, I just want to say it was such a pleasure doing this. I mean, truly, I had a great time, and I did not want to do what you thought, just go into talking about fights and stats. I had a few people that sent me some stuff, big fight fans, and they wanted to know about all these new fighters that are coming up and what you're doing in the
Really?
fighting world and this and that. I'm going, maybe not. I don't know. I'm sure he's done too much of that in the past 6 months.
Well,
Talking about it, and I just want to hear about what you two been doing. I mean, I see, like I said, these pictures you put on your Instagram and this and that. It's just like you're a star, both of you, but you're normal, regular people. Whatever
Well.
normal, regular is.
We're regular. I don't feel normal. I don't feel like our life's normal, but I like it.
Yeah.
You know,
Red carpet. That's not normal.
well, we haven't done one in a while, but the whole point is, that's our job. That's what we do. But end of the day, I mean, he didn't start fighting till like 34. I didn't start acting till I was 30. You're a formed human being by then. You're not going to change. You're not going to fall for stuff. You're just kind of going to be that person that happens to do those things. But I quite have more fun hanging out with our friends and drinking on the back porch and that kind of stuff than ever going to red carpet.
Yeah, I mean, friends period are so important. I mean, family is important too, but I always think, what's life without friendship or a friend?
Yeah, that's the richness in life right there, is those personalities, those friends that if they're good friends, they're making you better and enriching your life. And I think that's one of the things I love about this job, is we get to meet a lot of people, and they don't all become friends, but we get to meet a lot of really interesting, really good people. And some of them do become very, very close, very good friends.
I don't think there's a city we could go to we don't have friends or didn't make friends. Like we traveled forever and we would just make friends, even if we're just sitting at a bar. There isn't a major town I think we've been to we didn't know or make friends at, and that's America. That's what I love. So.
I see this as a difficult thing for people such as you, for folks, for you guys. I mean, in the entertainment industry, because you have this opportunity where you can meet all these people, but then also you have all this opportunity of falseness. They say, hey man, I love you, man. You're so great, and they want to be your friends, but it's got to be difficult thinking, what's the ulterior motive for what's behind it? Because I have a friend who is succeeded in music. And one time when I was visiting in LA, and he said, when we go out to a bar, he says, this is not me, just bear with it. I'm going to have a drink in front of me and I'm going to look like I'm drunk. It's because too many people come up and they think they're my friends. They think they know me and they're talking to me. And I don't know how to say, I want to have time on my own. So I have my drink and I go, hey, and I walk away, and they always go, ha, he's just drunk.
We're going to do that. We get a bad reputation, but it sounds like
interesting tactic or ploy, and it's definitely something I struggle with, because I think being in a single parent household, I have this desire to want to please and want to be liked by everyone. I think because I felt like it wasn't good enough for my own dad, it created this thing in me. And as I became a public person, she's right. I'm glad it happened when I was in my 30s and I wasn't a teenager or a 20-year-old. It might have been could have potentially been one of those tragedies. But because I was a fully formed human, knew kind of who I was and was figuring a lot of things out. I mean, hell, by that time I'd been divorced once and lived some life, saw some of the world, experienced some things. But I had to develop new filters. I was a handshake, smile kind of guy, friendly to everybody. And I had to realize that not everybody had my best interest at heart. Every person I met had an angle, and wanted something. And that wasn't something I was used to. And it took me a long time. And I got taken advantage of in some situations with some business things and other things. And so that has been the biggest struggle, I think, in becoming someone that's in the public eye all the time, is developing those filters. And Terry Crews from the first Expendables, he has 5 kids, and his wife, and they came to set. And we shot nights the whole movie. So we're at lunch. We just woke up. We're going to meet at a fish house there in New Orleans, have lunch. And these people keep coming over to our table and wanting to talk or wanting a picture or an autograph. And he's got his wife and kids with him. And I watched him, say, you know what, normally I would love to take a picture with you or do an autograph with you, but this is their time. And I take away from their time enough. So I can't do it right now. And that really, for a celebrity or somebody like that, is a lose-lose situation. You turn somebody down, they walk away saying, oh, that guy's an asshole. And if you take the time and do the picture with them or the autograph with them, especially when you're with your loved ones, you're taking time away from them. And they already sacrifice a ton of time for us to do the things that we do in athletics or as an actor or celebrity. So that's really struck home with me. And from that point forward, I started doing that same thing. I'm going to put it on that person. Look, this is my family. These are my loved ones. I can't take away from their time to do what you want me to do. Now, if they walk away bitching, that's on them.
Yeah.
Right.
They're being a jerk and not me. So that was something I learned from Terry. And I don't think that was a valuable lesson.
That is. If I ever get to that point, I will remember and use that.
I just to poop if I want to get into conversation. Time anyway. But there are so many people that are like, she said that to me, like right now. I'm like, yeah, I gotta poop, and you just run. And it's like the only thing you can say in any conversation. They could be like, halfway through like the most precious childhood memory. You say that, they understand. You gotta go. And
that's true. I guess it is, right?
Usually, I'm not lying. I would usually go to the bathroom just because I have to. So that's how I get out of stuff. I'm a little different than him.
I just, you learn to kind of talk on your phone even when you're not really talking on your phone.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It sounds crappy, but that's.
But it's nice of it just being
one
like,
of those things.
I don't know who you are. It's been 20 minutes. Go. Like, because sometimes you are in the middle of it. My rule is not while we're eating. Like, I get it when he does an event or something like that. That's his job, is to talk to those things. But when we're sitting down and eating, then that's like the one time I'm like, y'all can, if you're really a fan, you can wait, the 45 minutes till he's done. And they never do. So.
Yeah. And then they start taking the pictures.
Oh, he knows all my pictures, what I do. So like, if people are nice, I'm nice, but people, they get kind of, whatever. So I've had moments where people just shove a phone at me to take a picture and stuff like that. And then I'll just make it blurry on purpose, make it a selfie, all kinds of stuff. If they're nice, they're nice. If they're not,
I can just see it.
I'll amuse myself one way or the other.
There's Mindy and Randy back there. I'm going to do a selfie and get them in the background.
I have photobombed so many of his fan pics. And they're going to use it. Like, they're going to use that one picture they have on them.
She got stone cold busted a couple times.
A few times. The one guy printed it out for Randy to sign, and then he just goes, you! And I'm in the background. I'm like, oh, sorry about that.
That is classic. That is good.
Classic Mindy.
She's got to be a kick to have around.
Yeah, keeps me on my toes.
Well, I'm not boring.
Yeah, that's good. As long as she and he, both of you, keep each other safe and no more ATV crashes or anything like that.
I'd love to tell you that's going to be the last one, but there's a fair chance that's not going to be.
If we don't die doing something stupid, I'd be surprised, really. And you know what? Make fun of it. Like, if I'd hit a Ponderosa and make fun of it, make all the memes you want, I deserve it.
Just not a cactus or cacti.
Oh, I've done that. You took me bike riding.
Yeah, I took her mountain biking.
I'm not good at that.
Not her favorite sport.
Not in the desert.
No. Doesn't have a motor on the bike. No.
Well, I did that too. I took us into a wall when he was teaching me how to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Look, we're
one of the skills she wanted to learn, and it was my fault. I put her on my bike.
I was too tall. I couldn't reach the bottom. I popped the clutch straight into a cement wall, but he was really nice about it. He had that bike for 24 hours before I broke the mirror.
Oh, man.
That's love. I'm like, he's going to kill me. We're bleeding, whatever. The whole bush stuck in it, remember?
Yeah.
You guys have got a lot of stories to tell. I mean, a lot. But there's one favor that I'm going to ask of you, Mindy. Is when you know that this guy's going to have some drinks and go out and do karaoke, I will fly out there with a camera. No, I'll fly out there and I'll listen.
I got them for Christmas. I got them two. I got them one for here and one for the vacation house.
A karaoke machine?
Disco lights. Yeah, it's on.
I thought he was gonna go out in public and do it, and I'd go out there.
Oh, you have it at home. That's what we do with friends and family. It's a lot more fun. No waiting. Pick whatever song you want. You just go on YouTube, and there's karaoke for any song that was ever top 40 you could find. So.
Oh, jeez.
And we've done that. We've done that all night sometimes.
Well, film them one day and post it.
I try not to create too much evidence of what we do. There's enough.
Well, hey, I'm gonna finally say I'm not gonna keep you too any longer, but I have enjoyed this. This has been a lot of fun for me. So I'm sure everybody that's gonna watch and listen, except for the very, very beginning when it was going.
Well,
other than that,
pleasure, Chuck.
Yeah,
thanks
thank
for
you.
reaching out. Thanks for having us on.